A level of 1 detail building model in the Fusion GIS and Onuma system is a simple block for the shape of the building, and then the spaces that are automatically read from the Fusion system. So these spaces that just appeared on the left were just pulled in from the Fusion database live. These are parked off to the left of the building with the proper names and attributes. So for example, top code is correct. The only thing that it doesn't have is that it's not laid out in the building, but one could easily grab and move spaces into the right position or the relative position as accurately or as roughly as one would like. On a site plan, a level of detail model 1 is placed adjacent to the property. In the same way, you can actually, if you know the location of the building, you can grab it and move it into position. A level of detail 2 model actually has the correct shape of the building. This comes from the Foundation's GIS server that has a footprint of the building. So at level of detail 2, if I open up this building, it would again have the right shape of the building, but the spaces will still be off to the left. And you can start moving the spaces into position as well, relatively easily, to get a rough layout of the building. A level of detail 2.2 model actually has a floor plan background as an image, as a JPEG or a PDF that's been imported in and stretched into position. And then the spaces that were automatically generated from Fusion have also been moved into the relative position. Notice that they actually show the layout of the building, but they don't follow every single angle and bump and grind in the building. But you still can use this to generate all kinds of visual presentations, the room status and the top code, for example. This type of plan doesn't take very long to create. You can, in the Onuma system, to drag these spaces into position, and the actual square footage is actually maintained because the proportion is locked. So the data in Fusion equals the data in the Onuma system as far as square footage and names and other data. A level of detail 2.8 model uses the background image with the spaces laid on top of it, and the spaces actually stretched into the correct position, approximating the shape below. This is very close to a level of detail 3 model. The only difference is that we're not using the CAD file to actually generate the shapes. We're just using the image in the background directly in Onuma, and the editor would be able to stretch the spaces into position to approximate the shape of the room. It gets pretty accurate though when you look at the overall plan. You're within range, and at this level also you're starting to see the delta between what's reported in Fusion and what this shape is now reporting. So orange means it's starting to get out of range, and the red means that there's over 10% difference between what's in Fusion and what this shape is reporting. A level of detail 3 model looks very similar to a level of detail 2.8. The main difference is this was actually imported from a CAD or BIM. So the actual shapes are generated from the CAD line work or the BIM line work, not by approximating the image in the background. Functionally, it's very similar to a level 2.8 model. The spaces might be slightly different in size depending on how accurately the 2.8 model was stretched into position, because the level 3 model actually is coming from the actual line work that defines these spaces.